Power outages aren't just a nuisance, they're a reality. As the grid falters and blackouts become more common, will you be ready? When the lights go out for hours, days, or even weeks, survival depends on what you've prepared now. In this video, we're breaking down 8 life-saving preps you'll wish you had when the grid goes down. From staying warm to staying connected, these essentials are the difference between thriving and just surviving. Don't wait for the lights to flicker, get prepared before it's too late. Let's dive in. 1. Manual tools and multi-function hand tools. Now, if you're not already thinking about this, it's time to wake up. When the lights go out and your power tools are useless, what are you left with? Just your 2 hands? That's not going to cut it, literally or figuratively. A blackout isn't just an inconvenience, it's a test of your ability to survive with what you've got. You'll wish you had invested in a set of high-quality manual tools because in a prolonged blackout, they're as essential as food or water. And no, that flimsy multi-tool you bought on sale isn't enough. We're talking about a survival-grade hand drill, saw, hammer, and wrench set that can handle anything from basic repairs to creating emergency shelter. Imagine the chaos. A window gets broken by debris during a storm and you can't board it up because you don't have the tools to do the job. Or worse, you need to dismantle something, a door, a frame, even furniture. For firewood or barricades, and your battery-powered drill sits there mocking you with its dead battery. Meanwhile, your neighbor with their arsenal of manual tools is putting you to shame, fixing, securing, and adapting while you sit there paralyzed by your own lack of preparation. But wait, manual tools are just the start. You'll want multifunction hand tools that combine utility with portability. Think tools with saw blades, wire cutters, screwdrivers, and pliers all in one compact package. Not the cheap ones either, the kind that can handle actual stress without breaking apart in your hand. Trust me, when you're in the middle of a blackout, trying to assemble or disassemble something critical, you'll be thanking every penny you spent on a top-notch Leatherman or Gerber tool. Consider getting a hand-cranked or foot-pedal power generator for low-energy tools. Yes, they exist, and they are game-changers when you need more than elbow grease. And don't forget good old-fashioned sharpening stones and oils because your manual tools won't stay effective forever without proper care. The bottom line is this. If you don't have a toolkit that can function in the 1800s, you're not prepared for a blackout in the 2020s. Stock up now or risk becoming another cautionary tale of unpreparedness when the power goes out and society grinds to a halt. 2. Non-electric hygiene and sanitation supplies. You think surviving a blackout is just about food, water, and staying warm? Think again. Hygiene and sanitation are the silent killers in prolonged power outages. Without running water or functioning sewage systems, your home could turn into a breeding ground for disease faster than you can say outbreak. And if you don't have the right supplies on hand, you're not just uncomfortable. You're in real danger of serious infections, illnesses, and even death. You need to get your hygiene and sanitation game in order now because trust me, when the smell hits and the germs start spreading, you'll be wishing you had thought ahead. Portable toilets or buckets with tightly sealing lids. You think you can just hold it in? Not for days or weeks you can't. Forget flushing. Without power, water systems fail, and your porcelain throne becomes nothing more than a useless decoration. Stock up on heavy-duty trash bags to line your makeshift toilet, along with sawdust, kitty litter, or chemical deodorizers to manage waste and control the stench. And don't forget disposable gloves. You'll need them to handle waste safely without risking contamination. But managing waste is just the beginning. Personal hygiene is your next battlefield. Without access to running water, how are you going to wash your hands, clean your face, or brush your teeth? Enter the heroes of hygiene. Biodegradable wet wipes, hand sanitizers, no-rinse body wash, and dry shampoo. These aren't luxuries. They're lifesavers. Keeping yourself clean isn't just about comfort. It's about preventing the spread of bacteria that thrive in unsanitary conditions. You'll also want extra toothbrushes, toothpaste, dental floss, and plenty of soap. Bar soap lasts longer than liquid soap and doesn't leak, so it's ideal for long-term storage. Now, let's talk about laundry. You don't want to spend weeks wearing filthy clothes. It's a recipe for rashes, infections, and misery. Invest in a manual laundry system like a hand crank washer or even a washboard and basin. Stock up on laundry detergent sheets or powder, which store easily and don't take up much space. And don't overlook clotheslines and clothespins. You'll need somewhere to dry your clothes, especially if the power outage drags on for weeks. What about feminine hygiene products? If you're relying on disposable pads and tampons, you'd better stockpile a year's worth, because when they run out, you're in trouble. Consider reusable menstrual cups or cloth pads. They're sustainable, easy to clean, and don't rely on the supply chain. And while we're on the topic of medical supplies, keep an ample stock of baby wipes and diapers if you have infants, as well as adult diapers for elderly family members or incontinence needs. Then there's the issue of pest control. You might not think about it, but a lack of sanitation combined with trash and waste can attract rodents, flies, and other disease-carrying pests. Have a stock of insect repellents, fly traps, and rodent deterrents. Keep your food sealed in airtight containers and dispose of waste far from your living quarters. A single rodent infestation during a blackout could spiral into a nightmare scenario. You'll need to think about waste disposal. If trash pickup services are disrupted, where will all that waste go? Plan for it now. Heavy-duty contractor bags, duct tape, and plastic sheeting can help you manage trash and keep it away from your home. Consider digging a waste pit if you're in a rural area, or creating a composting system for organic waste. For urban dwellers, double bagging and sealing waste tightly is your best bet until services resume. 3. Non-electric communication devices. When the lights go out and the cell towers fail, how are you going to communicate with the outside world, or even your own family if you get separated? If your plan is to rely on your smartphone, I've got bad news. It's a glorified brick without power, Wi-Fi, or a signal. And when the blackout stretches from hours to days, you'll quickly realize just how crippling total communication failure can be. If you don't have a solid backup communication strategy in place, you're setting yourself up for isolation, confusion, and potentially life-threatening ignorance. Start with two-way radios, and no, not the cheap toy store walkie-talkies that fizzle out after a block. You need professional-grade radios with long-range capabilities, ideally with weatherproofing and encryption for privacy. These devices are your lifeline for short-range communication. Imagine being able to coordinate with your family across your property, neighborhood, or even a few miles away without relying on the grid. Want to go big? Opt for radios with GMRS, General Mobile Radio Service, or ham capabilities, which can extend your communication range to dozens of miles when paired with the right antennas and repeaters. Yes, you'll need a license for ham radios, but when disaster strikes, the payoff is priceless. If you think you're fine because you've got an emergency radio for news, you're missing the point. News is one way. You need two-way communication to adapt, plan, and survive. Satellite phones are the gold standard here. They don't rely on local cell towers or power grids. Instead, they connect directly to satellites, allowing you to make calls and send texts from practically anywhere. These aren't just for wilderness explorers anymore. They're becoming essential for anyone serious about prepping for extended blackouts. Yes, they're pricey, but what's the cost of peace of mind when the rest of your city is cut off from the world? For those who can't spring for a sat phone, consider messaging beacons like the Garmin InReach or Spot devices. These gadgets let you send preset text messages to designated contacts, even in the middle of nowhere. They're compact, reliable, and don't require much power to operate. Plus, many come with SOS functionality that can summon emergency services if you're in a dire situation. What happens when your radios, satellite phones, or beacons run out of juice? That's where a manual signaling strategy comes in. Keep signal mirrors for daytime emergencies. Yes, they're old school, but they're highly effective for signaling over long distances. Pair them with whistles or air horns to get attention when visibility is low. A loud whistle can carry much farther than your voice and won't strain your energy. Have you ever tried shouting for hours? It's exhausting, ineffective, and downright dangerous in the long run. Lanterns with flashing SOS modes, battery-powered strobes, or even old-fashioned flares can be lifesavers. In a blackout, these tools can act as a beacon to neighbors or rescue teams. For even more range, keep flagging tape or brightly colored fabric that can be tied to poles, trees, or fences to signal distress or mark your location. Want to go next level? Invest in emergency communication plans for your household. Before a blackout hits, establish a system of preset signals, meeting points, and fallback locations. For instance, a certain pattern of flashlight blinks could mean "I'm okay," while another could signal "help needed." Pre-planning these small details can save precious time and confusion in the chaos of an outage. Don't underestimate the importance of hard copy resources. Keep a notebook with contact information, emergency frequencies, and maps of your local area, because when the digital world goes dark, paper becomes your best friend. Have an address book with the phone numbers and addresses of key contacts, as well as a laminated card with Morse code instructions in case you need to resort to truly old-school communication. 4. Bartering supplies and alternative currency. In a prolonged blackout, the traditional systems of commerce could grind to a halt. No electricity means no credit card readers, no ATMs, and certainly no online transactions. Think cash will save you? Maybe at first, but what happens when cash loses its value because there's nothing to buy? This is where bartering and alternative currency systems come into play. If you don't have the right supplies to trade, you could find yourself locked out of critical resources and at the mercy of those who do. Bartering isn't just for apocalyptic movies. It's a real, practical survival skill that becomes vital when the economy, even on a local level, collapses temporarily. Start by stockpiling high-demand trade items. Think beyond gold and silver. While precious metals have value, they're not immediately useful in survival situations. Instead, focus on practical, everyday necessities that people will need when stores are empty. Small, easily portable items like lighters, matches, and candles are excellent barter items. These are things people will run out of quickly and desperately need in a blackout. Next up, batteries. These are the unsung heroes of bartering. Whether for flashlights, radios, or small electronics, everyone will be scrambling for these once their initial stash runs out. Stockpile a variety of types, AA, AAA, D, and 9-volt, and keep them sealed to maintain their shelf life. A pack of fresh batteries in a crisis will be worth more than gold to someone trying to keep their flashlight or radio functional. Then there's alcohol and tobacco. Even if you don't drink or smoke, others do, and these items are almost guaranteed to hold value in a blackout. A few bottles of cheap but strong spirits or a carton of cigarettes can be a lifeline when you need to trade for something crucial. Not into trading vices? Stock up on coffee and tea. They're lightweight, non-perishable, and universally craved. A hot cup of coffee in the middle of a crisis can feel like a luxury and will make you a popular trading partner. Don't forget about hygiene items. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, soap, and deodorant will fly off the shelves in the early stages of a crisis, leaving those who didn't plan ahead scrambling. Travel-sized versions of these items are particularly valuable for barter because they're easy to store and distribute. And don't underestimate the value of feminine hygiene products. Tampons and pads are essential, and their scarcity during a prolonged blackout will make them a top-tier barter item. Now let's talk about food as currency. Canned goods, freeze-dried meals, and even staples like rice, beans, and pasta can be traded when people start running low. Focus on items with long shelf lives and minimal preparation requirements. You might not want to part with your food stash, but having extra for barter ensures you can trade without jeopardizing your own survival. Another underrated but powerful barter item? Tools and hardware. Nails, screws, duct tape, zip ties, and rope are invaluable in a survival situation, especially when repairs become necessary, and supplies are scarce. A roll of duct tape could get you a week's worth of food when someone's shelter depends on it. Then there's medical supplies. Basic over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen, acetaminophen, and antacids will be in high demand, along with bandages, antiseptics, and even vitamins. Keep small, sealed packets of these items for trading. They're compact, lightweight, and highly sought after when pharmacies are closed. But bartering isn't just about what you have, it's about what you can do. Skills become currency when resources are scarce. If you know how to repair electronics, purify water, or create makeshift heating systems, you can trade your expertise for goods and services. Think about learning skills now that will be in demand later. Basic first aid, sewing, or even fire-starting techniques can make you an invaluable asset in your community during a blackout. 5. Critical repair materials and tools. When the power grid fails and blackouts stretch into days or weeks, the integrity of your home or shelter can become your first line of defense, or your greatest vulnerability. The problem is that most people prepare for a blackout as if they'll be sitting cozy inside, forgetting that blackouts often come hand in hand with storms, earthquakes, or other disasters that can damage your property. What happens if your windows shatter, your roof leaks, or your pipes burst? If you don't have the materials to make immediate repairs, you're setting yourself up for exposure, property loss, and potentially even worse outcomes. A broken window isn't just an inconvenience. It's an open invitation for freezing air, water, debris, and even looters to invade your space. Keep heavy-duty plastic sheeting or tarp on hand, along with duct tape, a staple gun, and nails. These can be used to quickly seal a broken window or cover a section of wall that's been compromised. A roll of weatherproof adhesive tape can also be a lifesaver for sealing cracks, leaks, and gaps where cold air or moisture might seep in. Next up, roof damage. A leaky roof during a storm can turn your safe haven into a soggy mess in no time. Stock roof patch kits, tarps, and roofing nails to make temporary fixes. Keep a basic ladder accessible and ensure you've got sturdy work gloves to protect your hands while working with sharp materials. You'll also want a hammer and a pry bar in case you need to remove damaged shingles or clear debris from your roof. What about plumbing emergencies? Think about this. No power means no sump pumps, no water pressure, and potentially frozen pipes in winter. A burst pipe can flood your home and ruin your supplies, all while leaving you without water. Keep pipe repair clamps, plumber's tape, and self-fusing silicone tape in your repair kit. These can stop a leak temporarily until you can make permanent repairs. If you live in an area prone to freezing temperatures, stock up on pipe insulation foam to prevent pipes from freezing in the first place. Don't forget about structural issues. Wood screws, nails, and brackets can be used to reinforce doors, walls, and furniture. Keep extra 2x4 planks in your garage or storage area to use as bracing material for weakened structures. A handsaw or hatchet will also come in handy if you need to cut wood to size, especially if you're using it to barricade your property or create temporary shelter. And speaking of barriers, you'll also want to think about door reinforcements. In a blackout, crime often spikes as opportunists take advantage of the chaos. Install door security bars or keep materials on hand to reinforce your doors from the inside. Heavy-duty padlocks and chains can also be used to secure external gates or outbuildings. 6. Mental health and stress management supplies. It's easy to focus on food, water, and shelter when preparing for a blackout, but let's not ignore the elephant in the room: your mental health. When the power goes out and life as you know it comes to a halt, the stress, anxiety, and sheer boredom can become as dangerous as any physical threat. People underestimate how quickly isolation, fear, and uncertainty can spiral into full-blown psychological breakdowns during a prolonged blackout. If you're not preparing for the mental toll, you're setting yourself up for failure, even if you've got the best survival gear in the world. Start with stress management tools. A blackout disrupts every aspect of daily life, and the lack of control can be overwhelming. Simple items like journals and pens can help you process your thoughts and maintain a sense of routine. Writing down your plans, feelings, or even a daily log of events can help keep your mind focused and reduce anxiety. For children, encourage them to draw or color. It's a calming activity that keeps their minds engaged while providing emotional relief. Don't underestimate the power of comfort items. A favorite book, a deck of cards, or even a stuffed animal for kids can bring a sense of normalcy in a chaotic situation. These items might seem trivial, but in the middle of a blackout, they can ground you emotionally and provide a much-needed distraction from the surrounding uncertainty. Let's talk mindfulness and relaxation. Include items like aromatherapy oils, candles, used safely, or even a small bottle of lavender spray in your blackout kit. Scents like lavender and chamomile have calming effects and can help ease the tension that builds up in a stressful environment. Pair this with breathing exercises or simple stretches to help your body release pent-up stress. Another overlooked item: puzzles and brain games. These aren't just for entertainment. They keep your mind sharp and prevent the kind of mental stagnation that leads to frustration and despair. Sudoku, crossword puzzles, or even Rubik's Cubes can occupy your brain and give you a sense of accomplishment when everything else feels out of control. For those facing extended blackouts, solar-powered radios with audio entertainment can be a game-changer. Listening to music, audiobooks, or even a talk show can break the deafening silence and give you a feeling of connection to the world beyond your immediate surroundings. Pre-download calming playlists or guided meditations onto a device that can be solar charged for those moments when stress levels peak. Then there's the social aspect, group morale-building activities. A simple group game like charades, storytelling, or a shared chore rotation can foster teamwork and reduce feelings of isolation. Shared laughter and collaboration can help release stress hormones and reinforce a sense of community, even in tough times. 7. Fuel and fire-starting supplies. When the lights go out and the temperature drops, fuel becomes a critical resource, whether for heating, cooking, or even signaling. But let's face it, most people grossly underestimate how much fuel they'll need and what kinds are best for various blackout scenarios. And when you're staring down a prolonged outage, scrambling to keep warm or cook food, you'll wish you'd taken this part of your preparation as seriously as your food stash. Without fuel, even your most advanced gadgets and survival gear are nothing more than paperweights. Start with the essentials, fire-starting tools. Matches and lighters are obvious, but you need redundancy. Stockpile waterproof matches, stormproof lighters, and magnesium fire starters. These tools are reliable, durable, and can function in virtually any condition. Add a ferrocerium rod to your kit. It's capable of producing thousands of sparks even when wet, and is lightweight enough to carry everywhere. And don't forget fire starters like fatwood sticks, dryer lint, or commercially available fire cubes. These make starting a fire fast and foolproof, even in less than ideal conditions. Next, consider your primary fuel sources. Propane is an excellent option because it's versatile, long-lasting, and can be used for heating, cooking, and even generators. Stockpile enough propane canisters to last weeks and make sure they're stored safely in a well-ventilated area. If you rely on a propane heater or stove, know exactly how long each canister will last and plan accordingly. Now let's talk wood. It's the ultimate renewable fuel source, but it comes with challenges. First, you need to ensure it's seasoned firewood. Freshly cut wood is too wet and won't burn efficiently. Keep a variety of sizes on hand. Smaller kindling for starting fires and larger logs for sustained heat. Store your woodpile in a dry-covered area to protect it from rain and snow. And don't forget a good quality axe or hatchet for cutting and splitting wood when needed. A manual log splitter can also make the job easier without relying on power tools. Charcoal is another excellent fuel source, particularly for cooking. It's compact, easy to store, and burns hot and long. Keep enough to last through weeks of meals and make sure you've got a charcoal chimney starter so you don't waste precious matches or lighter fluid getting it going. But what about liquid fuels? Stockpile kerosene for kerosene heaters and lamps, which can provide light and warmth in a blackout. Unlike propane, kerosene has a long shelf life and is less likely to degrade. If you have a gas-powered generator or vehicle, ensure you've stored gasoline safely in approved containers, with a fuel stabilizer to extend its usability. Keep a hand siphon pump on hand. It's invaluable if you need to transfer fuel from one container or vehicle to another. For more sustainable options, consider solar ovens and biomass stoves. These allow you to cook meals using nothing more than sunlight, or readily available organic materials like twigs and leaves. While they're not as quick as propane or charcoal, they're excellent for long-term scenarios when traditional fuels might run out. And let's not ignore safety. Fire and fuel storage come with risks. Always keep a fire extinguisher in your home, specifically one rated for Class B, flammable liquids, and Class C, electrical fires. Have a plan for ventilating any indoor heating or cooking systems to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning, a silent killer in blackout scenarios. 8. Portable water management systems. You've heard it before. Without water, you won't last more than 3 days. But it's not just about having a stockpile. It's about being able to collect, purify, and manage water sustainably. A prolonged blackout can disrupt municipal water supplies, leaving you high and dry if your taps stop flowing. And if you think bottled water is your fallback, you'd better have a warehouse full of it because the average person underestimates just how much water they'll need. Not just for drinking, but for cooking, cleaning, and sanitation. Start with water collection systems. Rainwater harvesting is one of the easiest ways to secure a renewable water source during a blackout. Set up rain barrels beneath your gutters, but make sure they're food grade and equipped with debris screens to keep out leaves, dirt, and insects. Even better, invest in a first flush diverter, which channels the initial dirty runoff away from your barrel. This ensures that the water you collect is as clean as possible. Next, you need a filtration system. Sure, rainwater looks clean, but it can carry bacteria, parasites, and chemicals. Gravity-fed systems like the Big Berkey are top-tier options capable of purifying gallons of water at a time. For portability, keep personal filters like the LifeStraw or Sawyer Mini on hand. These are lightweight, compact, and capable of filtering thousands of gallons over their lifespan. And don't overlook water purification tablets or liquid treatments like chlorine dioxide drops for backup. These are perfect for treating larger volumes of water or handling sources that might be heavily contaminated. But what if you don't have rain to rely on? A manual water pump can be a lifesaver if you live near a lake, river, or well. Look for portable pumps that don't require electricity and pair them with collapsible water containers for easy transport. Speaking of containers, always have a variety of sizes: collapsible water jugs, 5-gallon drums, and individual bottles. This ensures you have water storage solutions for every scenario, whether it's for a quick hike to a water source or long-term storage at home. For cooking and cleaning, you'll need gray water systems to conserve resources. Save used water from washing hands or rinsing vegetables for flushing toilets or cleaning surfaces. Keep a separate set of containers for gray water, clearly labeled to avoid cross-contamination. And don't overlook the tools to make water access easier. A bucket with a rope can draw water from deeper wells or streams. A camping shower bag can double as a portable water dispenser, complete with a nozzle for controlled flow. And for winter blackouts, keep a camp stove or heating plate handy for melting snow. But be prepared. It takes a surprising amount of snow to produce a small amount of water. Thank you for watching.